Welcome to the Women Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Amanda, the Money Healer, and today's episode is coming from our live webinars where you get to hang out with me and other women entrepreneurs to learn about money mindset, manifestation, and business scaling strategies and get your questions answered. To join us, go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com where you'll see the link to register for the webinars at the top of the page. Can't wait to see you there. Hello, gorgeous NFA Money Mamas. It's time for a biz breakdown session on the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast. You know that these are sessions for you to listen to where you get to not only hear about other powerful business women building businesses that they love in their zones of genius. Also, you get to hear from them about stuck points that you're probably experiencing too, because we all have them. And so today we are going to have a fun conversation. And right pre-show, we learned that Dr. Brandy Victory, who is the founder of Peak to Peak Wellness, is in Boulder, Colorado, which is where I lived for 25 years. And, you know, in the last few years, I moved to Colorado Springs because I fell in love and got married. And so, you know, it's always fun when I get online with people and I'm like, oh my God, we have so much in common already just by that fact alone. So we're going to have a great conversation about all things business scaling, money mindset, tips to help you grow. If you are interested in coming on for a biz breakdown session, make sure you go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com. And at the top of the page, you'll see biz breakdown session. And you'll also see the Women Entrepreneur Podcast Party. Join me for one or both. Let's get started. Welcome to the show today, Dr. Brandy.
Thank you.
So excited to have you here. Okay, let's start with this. I like to open the conversation with this question. If I could give you a magic wand to create anything that you want to create in your business in 2023, what would that be?
That's a great question. To create anything I would want. I know. Okay. So there's like a lot of moving parts right now. Yeah, you know what? That would be to fill my women's group coaching program for entrepreneurs who don't have the energy to run their business. I'm opening that in April, and I'd like to have 10 women in that group by the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So it sounds like, is it an ongoing group?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So ongoing group, and you want 10 women in there by the end of the year. Okay. Yeah. And it's entrepreneurial women.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. And like what's the focus of the program?
The focus of the program is to help women who are exhausted, that have businesses and they just don't feel like they have enough to give their business, to help them re-energize their self, their physiology, their mindset, removing the subconscious interference that's keeping them stuck in patterns, setting up their lifestyle so that it will hold the container of both who they need to be in their life and as a businesswoman with ease and grace.
Nice. That's awesome. I love it when people come on. I'm like, we do so many similar things. Of course, like-minded souls, right? So yeah, so for NFA Money, it stands for no fucking around money, and help women, help entrepreneurs. Podcast is directed towards women, but I help entrepreneurs break through unconscious money blocks, step into their zone of genius. And so you and I have so many awesome things that are aligned. Will you share a little bit about your business? How did you start your business? Like, what caused you to create Peak to Peak Wellness?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So my doctorate is in chiropractic. I've been studying functional medicine since 2005. I've been studying mind-body integration, neuro-emotional and quantum healing work since 2000. And all of that has been a part of my own evolution and my own healing path. So there was a time when I was really sick. I was 12 sizes bigger than I am now. Chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, digestive disorders, hypothyroid, the list goes on, bipolar, manic depression, and suicidal. It was a really, really, really rough place to be. And there was a moment in time where I began, like after the doctors gave me another prescription, and said I'd be on meds the rest of my life, there was a moment where I had this really deep sense of clarity and realized that my problem wasn't a lack of medication. And so either I was going to figure out how to get out of here, or I was just going to give up and be out. Right. And so I can remember what I felt like was my last conversation with God. And after that, a very short period of time later, I had these angels come into my life, and they're in the form of doctors who showed me what functional medicine was, how to work with my neuro-emotional body, what yoga and breath work came into my life at that time, meditation and all that stuff. And little by little, I found my way out. I started to learn how we can shift and heal our body. It doesn't matter what we have going on. If we can get out of our own way, what created our body heals our body. And we all have healing potential within us that can be accessed. We just have to unlock the door to it, right? And so when I started learning that and became a totally different person than I was, back then, and I started on this process when I was 19, I'm now 50. And man, I just can't not share that message with people. So I really want to help people understand that regardless of what's going on with you, in most people who come to me because they have something going on that they want fixed. And they've gone to the doctor and they said their labs are fine, but they still have symptoms. So they know that something's wrong. And so little by little, we can start to figure out what's happening in the body and why no one sees it, by just taking these appropriate steps.
Such a powerful transformation for you. And it makes sense that I always think about selling and the power of selling what you have. And people have, often a charge to that term selling, but it's like for you, it's like, it doesn't feel like you're selling when you're sharing a gift that you have for the world where you got to have such a powerful transformation and you know that people are suffering and you're like, hey, I've got a solution for you. And then the right people raise their hand. It sounds like you do incredible work in the world. Wow. I'm curious, when people are coming to you and they're, it's the doctors are saying like, oh, your labs are fine, but they feel like, hey, I'm still struggling here. My body doesn't feel good. What do you see as the most common roots to to those problems?
That's a great question. So it really depends on what's going on. If we want to kind of generalize when someone has had chronic illness, there becomes this belief pattern that they can't get well. So just by removing the charge around a belief like that can open the door to something really profound happening for them and with them.
Yeah.
If it's something like, oh yeah, I'm having explosive diarrhea alternating with constipation. Oh, okay. So maybe we look at what is the neuro-emotional component to holding on to our past versus blowing it out, right? And often we find that each organ system has a particularity around certain emotions, like the liver holds anger, rage, frustration. The thyroid is right there where the third chakra is, our voice, the way we're heard, our ability to be heard. Maybe if someone has hypothyroid, they have an inability to speak their truth or don't feel like when they say something that it lands with people very well. So we work on all those kinds of things. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, I like that you said that chronic belief pattern, and it's like that I think a lot of people forget, especially entrepreneurs, when the stress that we experience. I teach a lot about law of attraction, manifestation, quantum stuff, similar to you. And it's like, I look back at the roots of where that came from. And the hard part is some of that is stored in your system, even intergenerationally. And so then as you move through your life, through the law of attraction, whatever you believe to be true is going to be attracted to you and reinforce and revalidate that that's how it is. And so helping break through those belief systems, I think it's so powerful to know that it has a physical outcome for you, and that you can start to break through those. And, I always think about the common patterns across the board. My doctorate's in sociology, and it's like, I think about patterns, and macro systems of patterns that create us to be the way that we are. And it's like, oh yeah, we forget the mind-body connection in relationship to building businesses and making money and feeling good. And so, wow, cool stuff you're doing. Wow. I love it. Yeah, that's amazing. We'll share this at the end too, but share where people can find you just to give them a quick moment of checking you out.
Sure. I'm on Instagram. My handle is Dr. Brandy, DrBrandy. Also same for Facebook. You can also find my website, which, I built that myself. So, please fire into technology on that. drbrandyvictory.com. You're also welcome to give us a phone call at 303-619-7766.
Nice. I know. I'm looking at your website. It looks amazing. Great job.
Thanks.
Yes.
I'm ready to update it. So
Yeah.
I have new things in the mix, and I've been studying story branding. So I'm like, okay,
yeah, fun.
Time to really like close it down a little bit,
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's go this direction. What do you see as a stuck point for you right now in your business? Either money mindset, I love that you do a lot of this same type of work that I do, but then it's like sometimes you need someone outside of yourself to see the stuff and help you.
Absolutely. Don't trust me. I have plenty of my own coaches, practitioners, and people to help like show me the mirror because I do not see myself sometimes.
Yeah.
When it comes to, can you repeat the question? So
just any stuck points you're experiencing in business scaling right now, feeling like there's stagnation or plateaus or things that you wake up and you're like, oh, if I could just solve this in my business, what would it be?
Yeah. Okay. So might be two prongs. So I'll put them both out there and we can see where it goes.
Yeah.
So I teach something called Sensually Embodied Dance, which is an embodiment practice for women to come in to learn how to feel pleasure in their body. And I am like, every day I'm like more and more turned on about teaching this more and more. And so now I'm added another class to my roster, and my partner, he's like, are you going to burn yourself out? Right. Because I'm like, oh, I should just teach 3 classes and 4 classes. And I'm like, oh yeah. Where's the fine balance? I know for me, like in my practice with patients, the really juicy place for me is to see patients 2 days a week. So I know that keeps me healthy. It gives me time to back out, but I haven't quite like something I love so much. I mean, I love my practice too, but it's new and I want to play in it all the time, It's like, okay, how do I like navigate not over giving myself to something and burning myself out? That's one.
Yeah.
The other place is this new women's group that I'm bringing together for entrepreneur women. I'm very excited about that. It does integrate the embodiment practice as well as the healthcare. And I can feel like a little nervousness around like, okay, this is going to launch April 24th. And am I capable? Right. That's the mindset. Am I capable of pulling this off? I really want this to happen. And I think that was kind of like, 2 different totally things there. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Let's play with both. Let's start with the first one. Thinking about it's wild because I always tell people narrow your focus to expand your freedom. And often as entrepreneurs and creatives, we want to create a lot. And just like you're saying, it can lead to burnout. So in my business scaling roadmap, I talk about 4 zones. If anyone wants to hear this, go to episode number 3 of the Women Entrepreneur podcast. So the 4 zones, the number 1 is manic imposter zone. So it's like when you're starting something new, you get this mania about it and you're like so excited. And you also feel like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Is it going to work? Feel like a fraud? Those kind of things. Does that resonate?
I don't feel like a fraud. No, but yes, I'm trying to like source the things. And I'm like, is this right? And let's massage it some more and see.
Yeah. And so, and I would say you're much farther along than that, but there's like, I notice it when we start new projects or new programs or do a new launch, we'll have a little version of that manic imposter zone. And then we have step 2 where it's over deliver and undercharge. So we often give too much of our time, our energy, and don't charge enough for what we do, which leads to burnout. Then you step into zone number 3, which is value yourself more zone, where you start to go, I got to delegate. I got to narrow. I got to get really clear on my brand identity instead of having scattered brand identity. And then I can start to scale because now I know where I'm going and people know what I'm all about. And then the next phase, it's just the final phase that we're like, yes, this is the beautiful angel singing zone, which is your zone of manifestation. And that's where, things are humming. The people know exactly who you are. You've built in, whatever you want to call it, like in terms of brand identity, but expert platform, you're known for what you do. You have people coming your way automatically and easily, and money is abundantly flowing. And so, on that, we can go in and out of the zones. And so often when we're starting something new, we'll kind of move through the zones and we get to number 4 faster. But when we're very new in business, it's, I see people every time move through these zones. And so for you, it sounds like you're at different stages based on different parts of your business. Does that sound true?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's play with, this is interesting because you said the sensually embodied dance practice. How many offerings do you have right now?
Right now I have 2.
Okay.
And I'm about to put 3 because I'm doing a virtual class as well.
Okay. So you've got the dance and then the virtual class. What's the virtual class?
It'll be sensually embodied dance.
Okay.
On virtual, just so my women in my group coaching program can have access to class.
Got it. Okay. So you've got like holistic one-on-one do you do it like do you have a brick and mortar location that people come to? Okay.
Yeah, I do that too. Yeah.
Okay. So that's your 2-day-a-week practice.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. And then you've got this, it's almost like you have 2 businesses in a way, like you've got your in-person and then your online stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. So I could see why your partner's saying like, hey, don't get overwhelmed here. Do you feel overwhelmed? I mean, I think that's a question to ask yourself too. Are you noticing, going in that direction? And is that a pattern and habit for you in your history?
Oh, it's a big pattern. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really good at jumping into the deep end and then trying to figure out how to get out.
Okay. Got it. Yes. I'm sure this resonates. Me too. And I think a lot of the women who listen to the Woman Entrepreneur podcast, it's like high achieving women who have a lot of amazing ideas and are very capable and competent and can create a lot. It's really easy to overwhelm yourself with too many things. And so, I look at this a lot as an addiction to stress where, it's like, it almost feels uncomfortable to relax. And we don't know how to create space for that. And so what we do is keep recreating the reality where there's always a max out of the plate.
Yep, I know that story.
Yeah. So one thing I'd say in that way, it's like, when we look at all of our offerings, something that's important to do is like for you, because it sounds like you have more than 2, you have the dance, the sensually embodied practice in person, then you have it virtual, you're adding a group, you have one-on-one in person. That's already 4 things that you're focused on marketing. But, yeah. So one thing that's useful to do for you and everyone listening is like create a map of all the things you do and start really looking at your time blocks of how you're going to either decide to put boundaries on certain things and grow it over time, or how you're going to eliminate some things. Because, that's where we go, how do I let go of the addiction to burnout and the addiction to stress? It's not by adding more, usually.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Okay. So tricks here would be to streamline. Are the clients that you see in your practice the same that you're targeting for the sensual dance?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah. I see both women and men in my hands-on practice.
Okay.
The virtual group coaching program, they will be joining. The virtual dance class is included in their program. So that's kind of the same thing, honestly.
Okay.
I also have people in other states that are like, I'd love to come to your dance class. And I'm like, great, I'm going to have the platform for that soon. So that's kind of its own thing. I get juiced up when I can have like all the things combined, so if I have my women in my practice here who have body dysmorphia or body shame issues, then how about we look at your physiology and shift things, and through very personalized prescriptions of supplementation and diet and lifestyle that fits your body and your personality.
Yeah.
And get you involved in learning how to find pleasure in your body just the way it is, because we all deserve that, right? So if I'm still trying to like massage that to get it to come together, but not everybody's going to want to do that,
Yeah. So what I like to help people with is like, when you're narrowing your focus, it's you want to keep feeding your zone of genius. And it sounds like, what would you articulate your zone of genius to be?
I help women learn to love their bodies and elevate and optimize their systems so they can have functionality and a high quality of life
Okay.
throughout their lifetime. Yeah.
Okay. And just digging and I think that you shared this in your story. Why do you love to do that?
Because those are the things that have helped me elevate myself out of a place of feeling terrible and wanting to.
Okay. Yeah. You said, I think I talked over, you said, and wanting to die.
And wanting, yeah, I mean, I literally wanted to die,
Yeah. Okay. So it's like that. This is what's so beautiful about what you do. And, everyone here listening, when you think about like our zone of genius is always going to be tied to, meaning and purpose, right? So the reason that you have the desire to create a whole bunch in the world is because you see ways to attract people to feeling good. And what you're talking about in that zone of genius is like, I don't want women to feel like crap and want to die and want, that's a horrible way to feel. And so, of course, you want to create a whole bunch in the world to help people feel better. Now, the issue with overwhelm is doing too much that causes you to continue to keep vibrating at the frequency of overwhelm, which is probably resonant with some of your past. Like stress and overwhelm is almost safer than being relaxed and fully vibrant, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So that's where it's important. That's why we get to go like, am I just replaying that out in a way that's masked as productive positivity instead of like connecting with that feeling of my past where I'm like, oh my God, I used to feel like crap and on overwhelm all the time, scared, alone, afraid, overwhelmed, stressed out to the point I don't want to be alive. And somewhere in your being, until that gets cleared out, it's going to keep playing out inversions in your business.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. This has been whispering in my ear for a minute. So I'm trying.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's play with a reframe instead of like, let's get you focused on how powerful you are. Because when we say trying, we know there's struggle, right? Yeah. So let's play with how could you affirm to yourself. I call them AffirMantras. I don't think you've probably read my book because you're just new to me, but my book is I Am a Money Magnet, the top 30 money-making AffirMantras to manifest more. And it's basically a 30-day guide to break through all of your money blocks with 100 journaling questions. And so anyone who's interested in it, just go to IamAMoneyMagnetBook.com, free chapters, check it out. The way I teach AffirMantras is that they've got to be 100% believable to you. Otherwise, you're creating resistance in your inner being. And so let's play with one for you to start with that overwhelm piece. Like a starter statement would be along the lines of, I choose to blank, instead of just saying, I am free from stress, right? Like if that's not true for you, then you're just creating resistance by saying it. And so we want to say something that's 100% believable to your subconscious so that then you're aligned and not causing resistance. So it could be something along the lines of like, I enjoy building a business that makes me feel relaxed. Like, so that term I enjoy, or I prefer to create my business in, and I want you to play with what feels aligned for you. But it's like that, I enjoy dropping to-dos from my plate so I can feel relaxed. Something along those lines is what's coming to me, but let's play with one that feels aligned for you and resonant.
Well, the thing that's coming is I do love my work, and I also love my free time, which I don't have a lot of right now. So building a business that's sustainable and allows me free time.
Okay. So I enjoy, and it's zone of genius work. So it's like, I'll just start saying what's coming to me and we'll get to it. I enjoy scaling. I enjoy scaling my business from a place of relaxation is part of it. It's also about, I enjoy both helping people and free time. There's something in there for you to make sure you're creating space for the free time. as it sounds to me, it's like you're adding more and more to the plate, and then you're saying that you don't have enough free time. So that's, to me, that's a contradiction, and right? Yeah. 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 And I see people do this all the time, including myself, and so it's like, I play with this too. I'm like, ooh, reverse engineer the lifestyle I choose to create, and then ask every time I want to put something on my plate, does this align with creating time freedom? Are there more efficient and effective ways I can help more people?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, yeah. And I love that moment you're having, right? It's like where we get to go like, oh, okay, let's slow down here and really check in with ourselves and know, what am I unconsciously creating?
Yeah. Right. And how do I more efficiently work with more people? I mean, my practice, my hands-on practice is pretty busy. I mean, I'm booked out a few weeks, so happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to bring on new people if, somebody needs my help and it's the right fit, then yeah, for sure. Because people filter in and out, but I'm not like having to hustle real hard for that yet. Right. Or right now.
Yeah.
The dance, and last week before last, I had 4 speaking engagements, and it'd been a minute since I've done that. And I forgot how much I love it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, if I could just reach, 50 or 100 or however many people at one time, and help them begin to turn this thing on inside of themselves that helps them understand the depth of who they are and their authentic truth, and help them follow that even more divinely than they've been doing it, then hey, yeah, let's bring it. Let's do that. Right. So I like thinking more about doing group work and doing speaking engagements and reaching more people that way, as a way to get the message out there. But also in that, I have to go, okay, I shouldn't say I have to, it's important for me to go, okay, I just reached 100 people. Can I take a break? Can I have a vacation? Right? Can I not jump right into the next thing? I think that's where I go. I'm like, well, I just reached 100 people. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And sometimes I love that you're saying this, because it could be a very minor pause. It's not like weeks. It might just be like, hey, I'm going to take time to celebrate myself and rejuvenate, and then go, what's next? And then how am I going to do it in a similar way that it's easy, it's flowing, it's fun, and I leave the experience feeling inspired and alive versus drained and there's too much on my plate. And I don't hear you really saying that. I think there's in terms of when you're adding this stuff, you said what juices you up, you're using very inspirational words, and that's clear that you are inspired by the sensual embodied dance practice. So what I would be sitting with is how can I create some containers around my time and do it, let drop the feeling of urgency is really what it comes down to. And I, that's what it is. It's that urgency feeling. The flip side of that is you can frame it as, I'm a go-getter achiever. The flip side of it is I actually am afraid, and it's a scarcity mindset. There's not enough time.
Yeah. Yeah. That is one of my affirmations I write every day, is there really is always enough time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right. You're exactly right. Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's fun to play with. And so we always want to be looking at the opposites of what we're creating and go if I'm feeling urgency, where do I feel scarcity?
Oh, that's so good.
And that will help you disentangle the push and the force and that feeling of I've got to do more.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Well
You're
put.
welcome. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm thinking about how many women or people in general come my way with this exact thing, and I know it's partly because it's a reflection of me. As I learn how to let go of these things, I attract people to help move through it, because I'm moving through it maybe just one step ahead of you, Yeah, and it's oh man, I really realize how much scarcity thinking can be masked as achievement.
Wow.
And it's in smart people who have a lot to do in the world, that's what happens, right? So it's fun to play with.
That's a really, really profound thing that you just said.
Thank you. And thank you for the reflection. It's you and I get to co-create this together. And that's why I love doing this right now. Because I'm I could, like imagine me coming on to a podcast episode and having that conversation, just teaching. It's so much more effective to have you show up and bring your vulnerability and share here so that then I can be like, oh yeah, let's play with this. And then everyone wins. So it's like that experiential practice is so powerful. So thank you for being here. And, thank you listeners for being here. And this is where I think for you, it's really fun because you get to do all the things you love in the world. You just now get to do it from a different mindset and a different energy around it, and trust that like, hey, it's going to unfold in the perfect time, in the perfect way. And I don't need to have this freak out urgency, this underlying freak out urgency around it.
Yeah. Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
Like they should have 8 arms, not 2.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so it's like, it's so important to look at that. Like, where did that feeling of like creating constant stress, even though we might not might not label it as stress because it's, that high achiever part of us sees it as productivity, which is masked in our mind as a good thing.
Right. Yeah. It's really important. Yeah. I can see all different kinds of places that might have come from.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And it's worthiness too, right? It's like, how do I make myself feel worthy and valuable now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Because if you feel worthy of it, then you become like the center of it and it comes to you because you're worthy of it rather than chasing something you never get because you don't really think you can.
Yeah. It's like proving yourself. Yeah. And it can be so unconscious. Like even, and it's confusing, you think, for people when we are really successful. Like you have a very successful business, it sounds like already, Yeah. So then it's like, it seems like it's like an outpouring of that. And then it's always important to look within and be like, okay, like if I'm feeling at a 10 every day, awesome. Keep doing exactly everything you're doing. If I'm feeling like when I wake up, I'm like, I've got too much on my plate, then there's some adjusting to do.
Okay. And I raised my hand on that one.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. So I know we covered that one. Let's play a little bit with the let's see, nervousness around, are you capable of the group? So, let's dig into that a little bit.
All right.
Well, first, business perspective wise, do you have that market validation? Like, do you have people who are already interested in the group?
No. Actually, I have like 1 or 2, but and I have friends who are like, oh, I know lots of women who need that, but I just now like decided to do this a week ago, so
okay.
I haven't put it out there yet. Yeah. I'm just now, I just put it out to my list yesterday.
Okay. Awesome. And has anyone do you have a way for them to enroll in it already?
I do, but I haven't had a minute yet today.
Okay. And and what I'm thinking of is like one thing that's real important to do is, and I've done this many times in my business where I'm like, oh yeah, market validation is so important. So like really getting buy-in with at least, I'd say when you're starting a group, you want to, I'd say 2 to 4 people who are a yes before you even create it.
Okay.
And that's okay that you've already done it. It's just learning the ropes, right? Where we go like, oh my God, it makes it so much easier when I already have buy-in, because what happens is then you have this magnetic attraction to it and momentum already built. And then instead of having any doubt or nervousness about filling it, you already have buy-in. And so it gives you that confidence to keep, and then those people attract more people. And so it's a step that a lot of newer business owners, or let's say new online course developers or online program developers, don't think to do. And it's like, oh, let's actually get a couple people buy-in. I've had the most success by far when, here's an example. I had a workshop I did where instead of like creating it, which is what I've done a lot, is like create it first and then hope they'll come. I started talking to my people about it, and I got 4 people to say yes and created it for them, and then attracted more people to it.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, since you've already done it, it's cool. You'll learn a lot.
Yeah, I guess so.
And what you could do is, like, before you put too much more energy into it, see if you can get, 2 to 3 yeses with payment, because a real yes is the payment yes, right? For a program.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on this week. Like my consults, I had that I have this week, I'm gonna put that on the table as an offer. So
Perfect. Okay.
yeah.
And that's great. And so it sounds like, you've got an idea that it will move forward, and the way to reduce that doubt is by already having buy-in. And then your brain doesn't even go to the doubt because it's like, oh, I've already created it. It's already happened.
Yeah, thank you for that. I did schedule out 4 webinars that I'm going to be teaching a topic that we'll cover in that group, just a free webinar. So if I get people to that, then hopefully that's it. Yeah, that's where I'll get the buy-in, hopefully. Yeah.
Perfect.
But I love that idea of like getting it first. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. It helps reduce that any unconscious resistance to it. So, it's like when you said, I just wrote down what you said nervous around filling it and am I capable of it, right? So anytime we have that nervousness, we know that there's some sort of energetic block underneath. And so we get to go like, oh, how could I reduce any resistance? And something I found to be really successful is that market validation piece and getting buy-in before you create it. And, and admittedly, I keep doing this too. I've had ones where I'm like, I totally do that and it works. And then I've had ones where I haven't. I'm like, oh yeah, forgot. I should have done that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Will you share action steps for you? And actually, we didn't come up with an AffirMantra for you. So let's come up with one really clearly that works for you based on what we've talked about today. So, what's a statement that you can start to play with, programming your mindset with around, I'd say reducing overwhelm, something along those lines, like reducing too much, not having too much on your plate, like creating a lifestyle that's more relaxed.
I choose to create a relaxed lifestyle.
Awesome.
Hey there.
That's amazing because I choose popped into my head as the first part. I choose to create a relaxed, you could even say business. I choose to create a relaxed business because it sounds like that's what needs the relaxation.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I like that.
It's like, and you clearly are in your zone of genius helping people and you're very inspired by it. So it's not like I think it's funny when we talk about work-life balance where it's like, there's no such thing because it's not like you're all of a sudden going to work half time and play half time because play for you is building your business, right?
Right.
And that's zone of genius. That's awesome. So instead we just go like, oh, I choose to create a relaxed business.
I like that a lot. Yeah, that's good.
Awesome. Okay. Action steps. What's something you're going to do after our conversation today in terms of what we've talked about?
I am going to go back to my calendar and make sure that my time containers are appropriate and not overfilled.
Yes, I love it. That's great. Okay. And then just keep remembering, like anytime you feel urgency, look at the flip side of it. And go like, where am I feeling scarce? Why am I pushing so hard? Like what's there? Is this an addiction to my past feeling of overwhelm that I am ready to let go of?
Urgency, right? Yeah. And when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to just check in throughout the day and see, am I feeling urgency? If I am, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and either do like 5 minutes of breath work or move my body, like turn a song on, 1 or 2 songs and reset myself so I can let go of that. Like just repatterning my own nervous system around it.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. So for you, it's the consciousness around it because you have the tools to repattern. So it's just the conscious awareness that it's going on in the first place.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Love it. Okay. Remind everyone where they can find you.
I'm Dr. Brandy Victory. You can go to my website at drbrandyvictory.com. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook at Dr. Brandy, DRBRANDY. And you can call our office at 303-619-7766.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the beautiful, wonderful, powerhouse entrepreneurs who are listening out there. And don't forget, if you want to come on for a biz breakdown session like the one we had today, or for a Woman Entrepreneur Podcast party, go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com. And then one other awesome thing for you, I've started doing a webinar series every 2 weeks. We have really cool topics for women entrepreneurs. So go to nfamoney.com/webinars, nfamoney.com/webinars. And you can attend one or all. They're really fun, interactive webinars where this is my place where I'm going, okay, like let's build this community to be interactive and hanging out together. And so, there are, I think we just uploaded 7 all the way through May. So there are a whole bunch of cool topics on there. So go and check that out. Link will also be in the show notes. Thanks for being here, everyone. And until next time, I'm sending you big hugs and NFA money-making high fives.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast. If you want to learn actionable strategies that magnetize money as a woman entrepreneur, go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com to register for an upcoming webinar. These are interactive webinars where you'll get to hang out with me and podcast fans live for powerful lessons about money mindset, manifestation, and business scaling strategies. Plus, there's live Q&A to get all of your questions answered. Again, go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and click on the button to register for a live webinar now.